What's up guys, Sam here and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video in our big playlist and huge project of installing our own solar system and taking our home off grid as much as possible, if not completely. In today's video we are continuing building upon what we did last time, which was the frame structure of our solar arrays. What you're seeing behind me is also a sneak peek of the work, because today is all about our solar rail mounting kit and installing the solar panels. In part one, we covered everything you see behind me, the entire wooden structure and everything along those lines. If you've not seen it and you're interested, there's a link to it down below. In this video, we're going to be covering the rail kit, which I have boxes of right here. I'll show you guys all the ins and outs of it, as far as what we got, why we got it, and how we install it. And we're going to install our 20 solar panels on the array to finish out the major construction of this project. So in the world of solar array construction, the method you choose to attach your solar panels to your array frame varies wildly. You've got things such as DIY solutions that are sourced from hardware stores. In the past, you've seen us do just purely wooden structures and arrays. But in this video, we're going to be using something that is called the Tamarack Flush Mount rail kit. It is a commercial rail kit. It's a full package, and we chose that for several reasons, which I'll go into later into this video. First thing I want to do is go ahead and unbox one of the kits, because we have a couple for the array that is this size. Go ahead and show you what's in the box, what the pieces are, and then we'll get busy. So this is the Tamarack Flush Mount 84-inch rail kit. This is the 8-rail kit, but it is also available in a smaller 4-rail kit. The difference between the two is the number of rails and the amount of hardware you get. So depending upon how many solar panels you have that you need to install, you will buy however many number of kits to meet your needs. This kit comes with everything you need to mount the solar panels to your array. The only thing this kit does not have is the actual physical hardware to attach the rail to your structure, whether it be a wooden array like you have here with us, or if you're doing a roof mount, which is probably more common what you will find for this rail kit. It doesn't include the hardware or the flashing. Otherwise, it's got everything you need to put the panels onto the rails. So here are the actual rails. They're all kind of shrink wrapped together here. I'll go ahead and take this off of both ends and I'll let you guys see these up close. Here's a closer look at one of the rails. This is an aluminum extrusion, kind of a C channel with some extra benefits built in, and we decided to get the one that is painted black. You can find these in black or just raw aluminum, depending on what you want. So this rail basically has two things that you're going to use. You've got a top track and a bottom. This bottom track is used for your L-feet or mounts to mount your rail to your structure, and this top track up here is where the clamps go to clamp your panels. So as you're seeing it here from the end, right hand is the roof, top hand are the panels, and you've got hardware connecting here and here. All of your hardware comes in separate boxes and they are labeled to tell you what's in each box. So let's go ahead and open up the L-foot mounts. This is what mounts the rails to our structure. And here we go. So this is why it's called the L-foot. It's shaped like the letter L. It has a hole in the middle. This is where your hardware goes to mount your rail kit to your structure. And then this guy is the clamp. This is what clamps on the bottom of our rail, on that bottom channel on the rail. And as you tighten up the bolt, it secures it and clamps it into place. Up next on our hardware tour are the 50/50 clamps. These are called that because they will go over one panel 50% and another panel 50% to have one clamp to hold down two panels. These are adjustable depending upon the height of your panels. They do compress. This bottom little aluminum piece is what locks into the top of your rails. It's kind of like that. Your panel slides over, and then you tighten this bolt from the top and it clamps down, both holding the panel and bonding the panels to the rails. Staying in the world of clamps, we have our end clamps. So these are designed when you have a panel on the edge of the rail, they slot in and they bite down on your solar panel. You'll be able to see this and understand it more as we install it. But just know that this kit also comes with 8 end clamps. These bits of aluminum are our rail splice kits. They allow us to connect more than one rail to each other lengthwise, making a longer run. They are self-bonding, so they do connect the rails and bond them together, and they include a little nub here so that you ensure half of the splice kit is in each section of the rail. This kit does come with 8 of them, so enough to connect everything together however you may need. In this box we have an assortment of items. Over here to the far left, these are some plastic decorative caps that go on the end of the rails. Keep everything nice and clean, keep bugs out of your rails, yet also have the holes here at the bottom for drainage of rainwater. Here in the middle are some cable management clips. You get a nice assortment of these. And then over here to the far right, this is actually a grounding wire lug and enables you to run a ground wire from your rails to rails, run a copper wire between them, and properly ground your system. Grounding is extremely important with solar arrays, so it is great that the kit comes with these and they are included so you don't forget to do this. Last but not least is this box of hardware, although we will not be using it. This is hardware for if you are running microinverter setups. This is for mounting your hardware or controller box, but like I said, we don't have microinverter system, so we'll just save these for any kind of uses we might want in the future. I've measured up from the bottom of my board 7 inches, and this is going to be the center point for our bottom rail. I'm going to attach a string line right here, stretch it all the way down to the other end, making sure it's right on this pencil line, and this will become the reference point for us to mount our feet, which hold the rails. We've got our 2 string lines pulled out in place, and that's going to represent the 2 rail runs for our first series. This will be a total of 4 for this array. I'm going to go ahead and start attaching the L feet to the wooden boards. So I've got some 3-inch long Simpson strong tie construction lag screws, and I'll be putting it in place with my bit driver. This one I like because it is a 1/4 inch on the red, but if you pull the tip off, flip it around so the yellow sits outside, this is now a 5/16 inch bit driver. These are pretty handy for stuff like this. They're also magnetic, so it holds things in place really well too. The biggest thing to know is you only get 2 L feet per rail. So as they go out and as you space them, you're going to see me not put them on every single one of the 2x6 diagonal boards because there's not enough. So just keep that in mind that I'm working with a limited number of brackets. Got to make sure there's at least 2 per rail, and so the spacing will be off here and there. That being said, let's get the feet, let's get the lag screws, and let's go over there and put some stuff on the boards. So I have my string line in place. I'm going to choose to make the rail right here, right on top of that string line, and drive this in, but not all the way. I want to leave it loose until we get the rails attached. There we go. I like to leave this a little bit loose, so as we put the rails on and everything, there's a little bit of play here and we don't bind anything up. But that's the gist of one. Now I've got several more to do. With the first rails done, I'm now going to take my tape measure, walk down the line and measure out every 84 inches because that's the length of the rails, and put an X on the diagonal boards that the L feet are going to be mounted to. I'm going to make some decisions down here, see where they lay, how they get attached, but otherwise give myself reference points so I don't have to think so much or mess up as I go along. Now we get to use our rail splice kits and put all of these pieces together. So the splice kits are very easy. You just slide one in halfway into one rail, all the way until it stops. And then you simply connect the other rail and push it together until they stop. Now we're going to start to put the rails onto the mounts. So I want a 6-inch overhang with this rail on this side. So I'm going to mark 6 inches right here, and using a 1/2-inch ratchet, I'm going to loosen this bolt. Alright, the way this clamp works, as it's got 2 fingers that point this way. As you tighten it, it pulls it in, grabs this bottom channel on the rail, and clamps it into place. Alright, so see the bolt moving back and forth a little bit? I'm actually pushing the rail in and out this way. And as it goes in, it bites the bottom channel of the rail and holds it in place. So it's a 2-in-1 clamp. It'll clamp it to the rail, but it also clamps the height of this. So it's pretty cool. So go ahead and hold it in place here. Now I'm looking for my pencil mark right there. And now I will tighten up this bolt. Just enough so that as I work on putting this whole rail clamp together, I don't move it out of the adjustment for the amount of overhang I want. Right now I'm not worried about the height. I just want to get it locked in left to right. Alright guys, first rail is done. At this point it's a matter of rinse and repeat. We have a total of 4 rail runs to do. So sit back and enjoy the picture show. At this point, you might be tempted to say, hey, I've got my 2 rails on. Let's go ahead and put some panels in place. I want to see some stuff that looks legit. I want to make my neighbors jealous. Don't do that just yet. Go ahead and finish the top 2 rail sections, because otherwise you're going to box yourself in and cause issues. And the easiest way we found to install solar panels is from the top to the bottom. It doesn't sound like it'd be easy. We'll show you when we get there. So let's go ahead and do the magic of video. Snap our fingers, 1, 2, 3, and we'll have our rails done and we'll be ready to put some panels up. You ready? Got your magic fingers ready? 1, 2, 3. I tell you what guys, I'm glad I'm not a fairy, because y'all didn't do the magical click and you made me do all that work on camera. So thanks a lot, appreciate that. All right, we are ready to really make spaghetti. We're going to put these solar panels on the rails, which is the most exciting part. It's also maybe the most labor intensive because the panels, they're not lightweight. But hey, at least you only have 20 to do and this whole thing will be covered. That's what we keep telling ourselves. So we are going to start at the bottom right corner down here where it's easy. That way we get it squared up, lined up correctly as we want. Then we're going to do the panel on top, and then we're going to change gears. Because once you have the first row done, we have found it is a lot easier to do top, bottom, and work your way across. That way it is a lot easier to reach the clamps that go in between each panel.
So this is an end clamp. It's what goes on the end, this end and that end. And we put it in like with this facing out. So once we get our panel on here, we can tighten it up and it'll clamp it down. This here is a 50-50 clamp because it holds 50% on one panel, 50% on the other. And so it goes in between all the panels in the middle. So you can see on the bottom it has an aluminum piece that will go into the bar right here. And then this middle piece, you kind of pull up and twist, and it kind of locks it in, and then you can tighten it from the bolt up top.
Okay, we're ready to put our first solar panel into place. I'm going to carry it over. We're going to work on squaring it up, giving it the same overhang on the right hand side, but more importantly, getting the same overhang on the bottom, since our rails are what we want to be parallel with. Once we've got it locked into place, at least with the panel's location and orientation, we're then going to tighten the two end clamps right here on the end first, and that will keep everything locked down and keep it from moving around. Then we'll bring you guys in closer and you'll be able to see a little more stuff. But the first panel is absolutely the most crucial.
So I'm going to use my left hand to grab this end clamp and pull it all the way to where it kind of cups the side of the solar panel right here on the lip. And then we just tighten it down and it holds it really good.
Okay, the reason we did the top first and now we're doing the bottom is because this clamp right here, that is the tricky one to do. And while it's lower to the ground, we can reach it with our step ladder. It's not that you don't have to reach as far. You've got to reach across the panel to that clamp, but having it lower to the ground where we can use a step ladder is just a lot easier. Sure, we could get out the big folding ladder and we could easily do it on the tall side, reach across, but we just like this way. So that's the reason we're doing top to bottom, top to bottom. All right, what I've got you guys looking at is the clamp and the corner. Here's the benefit and beauty of those 50-50 clamps and of this whole system. Once you get your first one lined up, to align the next, you just smush it over as tight as you can and then pick it up until you're flush right there. Once that is good and you're tight here, all you have to do is just tighten the clamp. All right, guys, you have seen it. That is the magic of installing solar panels. Start with your end clamps, and where you have panels meeting together, 50-50 clamps. So what we're going to do, sit you guys over here, get it on the fast forward motion. Otherwise, Angela and I knock this thing out. You guys can enjoy the show, and we will see you whenever all the panels are installed.
Here is our last panel. We just got it up here. Very exciting. This has been a long day. We have 3 more bolts that we need to tighten down, and then we will be done with the solar array.
Nice. That completes the panels mounted to the rails, but sit tight. Tomorrow I'll bring you guys back out here. We're going to trim the rails off, add the end caps, and do a few more polishing things to really call this done as far as the panel installation. One of the really nice things about this ground array is that we built it tall enough to where we can actually walk underneath this thing. Now, given we are not very tall people, but I can at least get right below this second rail without hitting my head too much. I mean, the boards might get me, but I'll just kind of nudge my head to the side. This is going to make wiring up the panels very easy. It is also going to keep it up off the ground enough so as we mow the grass around the property, hopefully we won't shoot anything on the panels and make them dirtier or throw any kind of rocks or anything bad like that. This is also one of those things where, why not? It's not going to hurt you building it a little bit taller, and who knows, maybe we'll find some kind of use for the space under here, or if nothing else, just an extra little bit of shade for the kiddos, the cat, or what other critters may come out here in the future. So all in all, this array took 3 of our 8 rail kits. That means we have extra foot hardware. So as long as we don't need it for anything else, I'm gonna kind of save it for a little bit, but if we don't end up needing those, I'm gonna add them in to these areas and these boards that didn't have their own L-feet mounts and just make this unit that much stronger. I do have some plans for doing solar on my workshop, so I don't know, maybe I should save the feet. Then again, I think you can buy the feet by themselves. That would be a perfect scenario. So I'll do a little research, and just know that I will probably be adding in more feet supports just to give this thing as much strength and prolong its life as much as possible. Well, this completes this step of the solar array project. We have the rails mounted. You got to see all of that done. We also mounted our solar panels, and we have 20 on this array, 20 on that one, for a total of 14,800 watts. Theoretical. I mean, that's sticker value. It's not what you're going to get in real life. So coming up on our next videos in this whole playlist, you have things to look forward to, such as how to wire the panels, how to properly ground them, bond them, and anchor them. Electrically anchor them to the ground. Earth grounding. Grounding. How many different ways can I say that? And then we've got good old-fashioned trench work to do. We need to dig from this array to that array. Then we're going to go from that array at our combiner box, emergency disconnect, surge protection center. We're going from there, down under the ground, around the backyard swimming pool area and over to our storage building, which is where our inverter and battery system lives. We then have to go from that building around and into the house for our home's power supply. So lots of digging work to come. We'll get to use our mini excavator again. So we are so thankful we have that, because the soil, well, it's pretty hard panish. If you don't know what that means, it's a Tennessee term, and it just means the ground is really, really difficult. So if you have any questions or comments about this stage of the project, feel free to leave us a comment down below. Also, if you have not checked out the previous videos leading up to this, there's a link to the full playlist there as well. We've already shown the battery and inverter system, so check that out if you're curious. And then of course, if you want to see the wooden structure build for the arrays, that one's down there as well, as of right now. If you're here from the future, take a look, because that playlist is going to get pretty full pretty quick. Either way, thanks for watching as always. Take care. We'll see you guys next time on the homestead.